So, good morning everyone. Group 5, we're going to report the Unit 3, the literacies in the mother tongue based education, the teaching strategies. We're going to report the MTB MLE framework and guiding principle for teaching and learning. I am Dimple Pisora. I'm going to report the MTB MLE framework. One of the changes in basic education curriculum brought about by the new K-12 program is the introduction of mother tongue-based multilingual education, specifically in the kindergarten, grade 1, 2, 3, to support the goals of every child a reader and a writer by grade 1. MTB-MLE refers to first language, first education, that is schooling which begins in the mother tongue and transition to additional language, particularly Filipino and English. It means to address high functional illiteracy of Filipinos where language plays a significant role. So kani is ang bata is dili maulaw mo express sa iyang gusto iingon ug dili kani mahadlok sa pag-cooperate sa klase. Ang major languages sa MTB-MLE is are Tagalog, Kapampangan, Pangasinense, Iloco, Bicol, Cebuano, Hiligaynon, Waray, Tausug, Maguindanawon, Maranao, Chabacano. In MTB-MLE, as you can see, daghan siya og kanang stages. Sa MTB-MLE, naa siya tulo ka factors wherein the cultural factors, political sociological factors, psychological pedagogical factors, wherein ang cultural factors is particular siya sa places kay lahi man tag culture sa isa ka lugar. And political sociological factors, mga political societal factors such as states of a particular factors. There as psychological pedagogical factors are involved there ang teacher and the learners, wherein the teacher is the mode of instruction and the pedagogical and psychological when how the learners are able to observe what he or she trying to learn. Kaning assessment and feedback and learning outcomes standards. Diri ta mag-una sa assessment and feedback. Diri is when we can say it is to diagnose what has the learners have learned in a particular lesson or a subject area. In learning outcomes, dali nato makita nga mga output sa students, mga learning outcomes after sa activity. Og diri sa green nga part, as you can see, it is begin in the lower part, wherein mga comprehensions and competencies nakapaloob diri ang mga language comprehensions, reading, mga oral competencies, linguistic knowledge, practical creative writing competencies, mga critical language use, o kana pong the mother tongue base a strong foundation. Um, Once you have mastered this comprehension or skills, you will be able to master the next spectrum of skills, which is listening, speaking, reading, writing, and viewing, and as well as the mother tongue as language of learning. Next is once the students master the competencies, um, they will achieve the certain level of cognitive development and academic development. So these are the math, science, social science, arts, and arts. And after this development or stage, is the Filipino, English, and other languages. It includes the Bicolano, Cebuano, Magindanaon, and many more. And the last is the lifelong learning, wherein um, this is the aim of this framework to promote lifelong learning. As you can see, it is in the top of this framework. The aim of this framework is magamit sa tanan, magamit sa bata, o maghantod sa pagdako niya. And that's all. The MTP MLE curriculum framework. We are going to proceed the guiding principle for teaching and learning in MTB MLE. Principle 1, known to the unknown. Principle 2, language and academic development. Principle 3, cognitive development. Principle 4, discovery learning. Principle 5, active learning. Principle 6, meaning and accuracy. Principle 7, language learning or language transfer. Principle 8, affective component, valuing the home language or culture.
Hello, good day everyone. I am Darrell M. Dagaang. I will be reporting the first principle for teaching and learning in mother tongue-based multilingual education. Principle 1, known to the unknown. Learning requires meaning. We learn when we use what we already know to help us understand what is new. David Ausubel said that the most important single factor influencing learning is what the learner already knows. Ascertain this and teach him or her accordingly. It means it's not just about learning on something. We should also give meaning to what we are learning. And we should use our past knowledge to understand the new one fully. We should not disregard our past knowledge or our mother tongue as a tool in learning, for it will serve as our stepping stone in learning new knowledge or learning new language. Example, kumagamit ta sa atong first language which is Bisaya, and then kabalo taon si tawag ana sa Bisaya, like example, bangko. Then nabal-an nato mo na siya sa Bisaya is bangko. And then nabal-an nato nga ang Tagalog di sa bangko kay upuan. Kung atong gamiton ang mga una natong kahibalo, then masayo na sa atoa nga masabtan or masayo na para sa atoa nga makabalo og mga bag-o nga mga butang or mga bag-o nga like language or knowledge, makakuha tag knowledge about ana. In application to this, we should start, or as a teacher, they should start with what the learners already know about a topic and use that to introduce the new concept. Beginning with the learner's first language and culture will better facilitate mastery in the curriculum content. According to Chamot, nowhere is the role of prior knowledge more important than in second language educational contexts. Students who can access their prior knowledge through the language and culture most familiar to them can call in a rich array of schemata, whereas students who believe they can only use that knowledge they have explicitly learned in the second language are limited in their access. It means that students could learn better using the language they are familiar with in order to learn a new language or second language that they could eventually use in the future. Or, students learn a second language best when they are able to draw on their prior knowledge of their first language. And as a teacher, before you dapat mag-introduce og new topic, kinahanglan mag-ask sa students og questions nga related sa new topic nga i-introduce niya sa ilang mga students. Using their first language, mas ma-express nila ilang ideas about ana nga topic, then makatabang sab para mas sayon o dali ra nila masabtan ang new topic kay naa naman sila idea about ato. Also, second language learners use what they know in their own language to help develop other languages. This positive transfer effect has been found to be significant in reading. In application to this, develop an awareness of how the L1 works to support learning the L2 and L3. So, kung bihasa na ta sa paggamit sa atong first language, then it would be of big help to support in learning the L2 and L3. And as I have said earlier, that our first language will serve as a stepping stone in learning new language. In general terms, teachers should proceed from known to unknown and should try to take advantage of what the learners know and then tries to relate the new experiences with the old ones.
Principle 2, language and academic development. So, students with well-developed skills or katong mga students nga fully developed or kanang dali ra nila nakatunan ang ilang first language, dali ra nila hinibal-an, dali ra nila nakamatunan ang ilang first language. So, para sa ako lang sa Bisaya kanang mo yun na siya akong first language. So, for example, ako as a students kanang sa among balay mas gikuan gyud kanang mas gi priority gyud ang pag-speak og Bisaya. So dali ra nako siya na katunan mo na siya ang mga well-developed skills kanang dali ra nimo na kamat mo na depende na siya sa imong kuan environment. There's a possibility na they can also easily or fully adapt the additional languages, or when we say additional languages, variety of language, just like Bisaya, Tagalog, or unsa pa man, dali na muna siya advantage pag pag hanas na bitaw kaayo kamo istorya o sa imong first language, muna siya ang advantage. Remember ha, easily and fully acquisition or dali ran ma-acquire nila ang additional languages. Muna siya ang advantage. And kuan pod kanang if dali ra pud nimo makuan ang first languages, na po siya positive impact asa man sa academic achievement. So if ever kanang well developed na gyud kaayo ang imong first languages, dali ra ka makakat-on sa imong second and third languages. Kay di ba kuan pa lang daan, sa first language pa lang daan nakabalo ka, how much more di ba sa second and third languages. So mauna siya ang kuan positive impact ana. Next is application, or dapat nimo buhaton nga mas ma-develop pa ang imong second and third languages. I-continue the oral development of learning first language and begin reading in L1 to strengthen L2 and L3 learning, as well as academic achievements across the curriculum. So bining kay dili pasabot nga na fully develop ang imong first language, dili na ka magbasa. So kailangan gyapon nimo i-continue og basa sa L1 para mas ma-strengthen ang imong L2 and L3 and so on.
Cognitive development. It refers to how a person perceives, thinks, and gain understanding of his or her word through the interaction of generic and learned factor. Students who use their multilingual skills have been shown the development of both cognitive flexibility, divergent thinking. If the student know how to speak Tagalog, English, Bisaya, or any other language, then what student is capable to develop both cognitive flexibility and divergent thinking. Cognitive flexibility allow you to analyze a situation and come up with alternative plans to meet your goal or requirements. For example, you're having a job interview at certain company that you applied for and you haven't checked the background of the CEO of that company. Since you are confident enough to face an CEO because of your English skill and you have a good communication skill. But during the interview, the CEO started speaking using his own language, which is Ilocano. But since you have a multilingual skills, you did not panic. Instead, you answered him using an Ilocano language. Too much have you pass interview. Divergent thinking is thought process or method used to generate creative ideas by exploring many possible. For example, a girl who solved mathematical problem which she used different solution but the outcome is only the same. Higher order thinking skill. When we truly learn something, we can explain it, apply it, analyze it, evaluate it, and use it to create new ideas, information. So, this is according to Bloom's taxonomy from the lower order thinking skill up to higher order thinking skill. Bloom's taxonomy. Mao ni siya ang Bloom's taxonomy. Remember, recall, facts, and basic concept. Almost everyone has this skill since we are used to remember things, understand, explain ideas or concept. As we get older, we tend to easily understand the concept rather than being against with it. Apply. Use information in new situation. Use this every day because every lesson we acquired, we eventually apply it to ourselves. Analyze. Draw connection among ideas. After applying the lesson, we gain we analyze more about a certain situation, there we tend to compare and contrast about certain things. Evaluate. Justify a stand or decision. After analyzing, we start evaluating, we start justifying based on your knowledge. Create. After justifying or analyzing, produce new or original work. Create, mao ni siya ang create. Produce new or original work. After justifying or analyzing, we then create concept on our own based on what we explain or learn. Thank you. Thank you for listening.
Good afternoon. I'm Giselle C. Llanos, the next reporter of Principle 4, Discovery Learning. We learn when someone who already understands the new idea or task help us to discover. Discovery learning was introduced by Jerome Bruner, which means it is a method of inquiry-based instruction. But pasabot, meaning the child can learn through his or her experiences or imagination and creativity for many students. Learning typically involves reading textbook, attending lectures, or doing research in the library or online. Subuot pasabot, as a teacher, kita pod tabangan sab nato ang atoang mga estudyante nga mas makabalo pa sila, mas madiscoveryhan pa nila ang mas angay pa nila nga mahibaluan. Find out what the students already know about a topic, then provide activities that let them use their knowledge to learn the new concept or task. We should use stories, games, visual aids, and other attention-grabbing techniques that build curiosity and interest and lead learners in the new ways of thinking. So, dapat sigyo di ay, as a teacher, maghatag jud tag mga techniques para ang atong mga students, sila mismo makadiscover pa og ilahang mga angay pa nga makatunan, mga daghan pa sila ma-learns. And then, we should use kanang mga example, experiments, mag-explore. Aron ang mga learning, mas kuan pa gyud sila, mas magustuhan pa nila ang ilahang mga buhaton, aron nga mas maka-acquired pa gyud sila og knowledge for themselves.
Now let's proceed to the principle 5, the active learning. Active learning is a method of learning in which students are actively or experientially involved in the learning process and where there are different levels of active learning. So from the word active, they are interested to know what the topic is all about, or in the other term, interested of what they are doing. So let's read the 5.1. Pair interaction. Children learn best through pair interaction in which they work together creatively to solve problems. So, pair interaction means is something that children can manage by themselves or already at the early age. So, students nga kanang kabalo na siya mudala siya kaugalingon, kabalo na siya mo manage ani nga idea, kabalo na siya mag-solve ani nga problem without help by the teacher or the adult. So and giving a task, as a teacher, you need to give a task to the students or group them to communicate and to gain ideas on how to solve problems. Yes, for example, sa demo, diba, as a teacher, you have a group group activity. Kailangan nimo sila i-group. Kailangan nimo sila i-group. And kabalo ka kinsa ang active nga students ug dili active. Kailangan nimo siya bahinon na ay active nga students diri na ay dili sa first group, sa second group is naapoy for active ug dili active nga student. So unsay pasabot nga dapat nimo sila itapo dili kay itapo ang mga active ug dili active. So ana magud ni siya as a group naa gyud na ikuan problems nga ihatag ang teacher or role play. So maghatag na silang mga ideas og unsaon nila ni paghimo, unsaon nila pag-solve ang problems. Kailangan isa-isa sa ilaha maghatag sila og ideas about how to solve the problems and how to do it. And dili lang kailangan nga as a group mates, di ba? Dapat kamutanan maghimo. Dili kay sige, mao ni siya ang leader. Dapat siya ra maghimo. Dili biya na ing ana. Okay. Ana magod nga pag ang isa lay mahimo, walay makatunan ang tanan. Dapat magyud tanan ang maghimo. Tapos tanan pod para makasabot. So, naa diri ang application that do most class activities in teams or pairs, encourage students to talk with each other and compare ideas in order to solve problems. As what I have said sa akong example kaganina, mao ni siya ang application. So, 5.2.
Good day everyone. I'm Annalisa Bidanoco and I will be discuss the next principle. Principle 6. Meaning and accuracy. Successful language learning involves hearing, speaking, reading, and writing activities that focus on both meaning and accuracy. Application include plenty of activities that focus on both meaning and accuracy. So, meaning and accuracy are important components in learning a language. Why meaning? Dahil kailangan nating maghatid ng tiyak na mensahe. A specific message. Sometimes, meaning are prone to several interpretations. That's why we need to deliver an information appropriately so that they can understand it properly. Next one is the accuracy. What do you mean by accuracy? Accurate from the word itself. Ito ay tumutukoy sa kung gaano ang wastong paggamit ng mga mag-aaral sa sistema ng wika. Meaning to say that information should be specific because there is really an equivalent answers in any questions. Meaning to say you need to have a correct answers. So how can you apply that? Of course, you need to provide activities. So what kind of activities? Ito ay ang mga activities that focuses on both meaning and accuracy. Halimbawa nito ay ang mga pagsasanay sa gramatika. It also involves hearing, reading, and writing activities in order to have a successful language learning. And that's all for Principle 6. The next principle will be discussed to the next reporter.
Principle 7. Language learning or language transfer. We learn a new language best when the learning process is non-threatening and meaningful, and when we take small steps that help us gain confidence in our ability to use the language meaningfully. So, kung ang isa ka estudyante is beginner, for example sa preschool, ang isa ka bata kinahanglan jud siya tudluan step by step kay para mas maka-learn siya ana nga language. Kay dili man karon dayon ng isa ka bata is makasabot ana nga language or
words. Kinahanglan nga imo gyud na siyang explainan step by step. Kay para ma-gain iyang confidence nga magamit to niya nga language or words in meaningful way. Application. Begin the L2 language learning time by focusing on her, see, do activities that enable students to build up their listening vocabulary before they are expected to talk. Introduce reading and writing in L2 when they have built up a good hearing and speaking vocabulary. So, there is application, kinahanglan gyud ang bata is makita niya kung unsa ang gibuhat ni teacher ug madungog pud niya kung unsa ang sulti ni teacher ug kung unsa pud ang gibuhat ni teacher mausab to iyang sundogon. Kay parang ang isa ka student is ma-build up niya ang iyang listening vocabulary. Dito na din nga expected na din dato ang isa ka bata maka-explain ana nga language or words. Then after ana kung kinahanglan man nga musulat siya or mubasa, iha na din tong nga masabtan tong ihang gibasa or makabalo na din to siya sa katong ihang gisulat.
According to Thomas and Kohler 2003 and Cummins 2006, ang kuan daw, according sa ilang research, ang second language acquisition kay nag-indicate siya or nag-acquire siya meaning sa kuan daw kanang makuha ang second language maabot siya sa minimum nga 2 years para ka maka-learn or para ka makatuon. So when we say second language manggod, muna siya ang language nga kanang na-learn na to communicate with the native speaker or with a native students or atong mga classmate. Kung moingon tag native, muna siya ang kanang first language nga atong nakatunan, di ba? Kung sa ako Bisaya, mo na siya akong first language. Well, ang akong second language is Tagalog, which is kanara na siya kung akong na-learn from my classmates. And then kuan po daw siya kanang maging nini mo ning second language through the help of society. Yes, kay sa ako amang good ang ako adyong kuan ang naka-develop with sa akong second language is through my classmate or society nga naa sa akong palibot. Then very significant jud ang society kay para kita maka-learn ta sa second language. Through society, maka-adapt ta og mga languages nga dili familiar sa tua and ma-apply sa atong self or sa atong or kuan siya makadungag siya sa atong knowledge. So if lisod na jud kaayo ang mga academic concepts, lisod na jud kaayo kanang nanadyo siya lalom nga kuan ang imong second language lalom na gyud kaayo di na kay kakasabot, so it takes 5 years adisir ka makabalo. So man na siya ang sa research nila Thomas Kohler and Cummins.
Errors are a normal part of second language learning. Second language learners benefit from opportunities to receive feedback in a respectful and encouraging way. It is helpful when teachers respond first the content of what the student is saying or writing, focusing on 1 or 2 errors at a time. So, normal man gyud sa ato is ang magkamali mo pronounce or mosulti sa isa ka word or isa ka language. Kay dili man nga kanang kuan dayon nga karon dayon makasabot dayon ta nga isa ka language, kinahanglan man gyud nato nga mangutana or kinahanglan gyud nato nga mamali before ta makabalo ana nga language. So ang buhaton na is nagyoy time nga makadawatag kanang feedback nga kanang murag dili feedback nga pinaagi sa kanang murag lain nga feedback, makadawat tag feedback nga kanang murag i-encourage lang ta nga usbon to nimo nga kuan nga imuhang pagkasulti kay dili to siya mao ang pronunciation or dili to siya mao ang pagkasulti ha. So diri apod sa it is helpful when teachers respond first to the content of what the student is saying or writing. So kinahanglan for example kung ang isa ka student is na siya gibuhat nga essay, then ihang gipasa kang teacher. So ang teacher is kanang kung na siya wala ma-subti dito or something nga murag na ay na wrong dito, wrong grammar ana kinahanglan pud niya nga muhatag og kuan feedback sa isa ka student nga para ang isa ka student is mausab to niya. For example, ang katong essay ni student nga ihang gipasa, pwede ra si teacher dito musulat og feedback niya nga ingon ani ang dapat imong buhaton tungod mali ang imong dili siya nga dili in a bad way ha, not in a good way, in a good way kay para sa student is kanang ma-build up gay niyang confidence nga kuan dili di ay tumao ang iyang nabuhat.
Good day everyone. My name is Bian Laurel. So my topic for today is Principle 8, Affective Component, Valuing the Home Language and Culture. So when we say affective component, is concerned with a person, emotional reaction or attitude that was incognitive within the learners. So we need to value the learner's language and their culture because it is a part of them in order to develop their skills or their knowledge. Next is a valuing student with talents in their home language more powerfully enable learning than just valuing learners of English whose home language is irrelevant to academic success. So, valuing the student talents with their home language is important because it is a way to express their unique talents or skills. Like for example, the mother tongue. Teach us by the use of mother tongue in order for the student to understand what is the lesson all about. And also, the mother tongue is the first language that the parents taught to the children. So, the child are comfortable to use it. And also the mother tongue is the foundation of the curriculum. And learners must maintain their first language when they began schooling in a different language. And home language is a better language than the English language because English language are rarely or casually used by the student. Unlike to the home language, the student, the learners use it in his or her daily lives. So it is easy for him to use it. Next is application. Learners are encouraged when they know they are valued in the classroom and language and heritage are seen as resources. So the learners, they encourage or motivated when the classroom setting is related or familiar to them. For example, the lesson that the teacher gives to them is related to their language and culture. So through this, the child are encouraged to participate to their lesson. And also, there is high possibilities that the talents of the learners are improved and they become a competitive learners. So next is the classroom environment. Children from ethno-linguistic language group thrives in a welcoming environment in which teachers and peers value them as a positive presence in the classroom and the school, encourage their use of their provide books, visual representation, and concrete object that reflects their background and interest. So, the classroom environment of the child should also give them a sense of belongingness and acceptance of the teachers and peers. To feel it to the learners that they are belong in that field and without a discrimination. And also the classroom setting is relevant to their language and culture. Through this, they improve their skills and then to become a competitive learners. So that is my lesson for today. Thank you for listening.